I want this particular matter to take no more than the next 30 minutes. Give the mic to Honorable Otiende.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll actually take a shorter time.
Wonderful.
Honorable Speaker, I did write to your good office on 21st of November, raising 15 different points on why, in my opinion, the conflict of interest bill stands as unconstitutional in its present form. Honorable Speaker, I will highlight just 3 because I took the liberty to copy the letter to the minority leader and the majority leader, and I'm sure they are seized of it. Honorable Speaker, let me also point out that I'm aware that the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee only finished its deliberations this afternoon on the bill, and they have produced an addendum report, part of which actually agreed with some of the points we've raised. Honorable Speaker, in paragraph 3, we raised the issue in terms of definition. This bill brings a definition of public officer that, in my view, would conflict with the definition in the Constitution, and strangely, even seeks to include volunteers, consultants, and persons who render any form of services to be public officers. The implication of that is immense. In paragraph 4, Honorable Speaker, in direct contradiction of the separation of powers and the Powers and Privileges Act and our own standing orders that has made this House self-regulating, in its wisdom, this House passed an Act of Parliament, the Powers and Privileges Act. It then also passed the standing orders and gave power to the Powers and Privileges Committee to deal with the issues in terms of conflict of interest. This bill seeks to yank that from Parliament, to yank it and assign it to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, so that the Commission would then end up regulating what even we as members of Parliament do in this Parliament. That is wrong. Every branch must be self-regulating, just the way the judiciary is and ought to be self-regulating by the Judicial Service Commission. We are self-regulating through yourself, Mr. Speaker, as the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, and then the committee. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 5 then does something very strange. Other than trying to regulate all public officers and state officers, this bill then singles out in clause 11 only members of Parliament. It does not single out anyone else. It does not single out cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, judges, only members of Parliament, almost as if this bill is tailored to focus on members of Parliament in a very unfair way. Mr. Speaker, in clause 11.2, which is in paragraph 8 of my letter, it does something very strange. Other than requiring members of Parliament to declare whenever there's any issue of conflict of interest, it then says that wherever such a declaration is made, no member of Parliament can participate in any debate or discussion where they would benefit. The implication of that, Mr. Speaker, is that there would be no one to legislate on any issues affecting members of Parliament, because we'd all be in conflict of interest. There would be no one, and we would not even be able to deliberate on the the NGCDF bill as we are deliberating today. There would be no one to discuss the question of salaries or pensions or car grants, because we would all be declared to have been in conflict under clause 11.2, and therefore unable to discuss anything around that. Mr. Speaker, in paragraph 10, we raised the issue in terms of declaration of income, assets, and liabilities. And this bill not only requires a public officer, like a member of Parliament, to declare their income, asset, and liability, but then it even extends to their spouse and dependent children, so that the Honorable Wanjala, who I think has just walked out, and who by his own admission is a serious polygamist, would then be required to ask his wives for full disclosure of what they owe and own. and to include in that declaration. This is a breach of Article 31 of the Constitution, and especially because once you've declared, it then becomes information held by the state, which anyone can access. The Honorable Speaker, I have raised 15 different points. I do not need to read them again because you are well seized of them. I urge that it be considered by yourself, Honorable Speaker, in addition to the report of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, so that we can seriously reconsider this bill, because this bill has the potential of harming ourselves. Self-preservation has always been the most basic human instinct. Let us not be a house that is given to self-infliction of pain. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Otiende Amolo. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me first thank Senior Counsel Otiende Amolo for those issues and indeed confirm that the Honorable Otiende Amolo did write